NFL Week 18 Power Rankings. At number 10, I have the Buffalo Bills down 2 spots. Only reason they're down 2 spots is because other teams win, and Josh Allen probably had one of his worst games, throwing 3 picks, and it was definitely closer than it should have been. Atlanta's defense, even Atlanta's defense is not that good. Josh Allen should have been easily went right through their defense, but they didn't, and Josh Allen threw 3 picks, as I said. They still won the game though, which is good for the Buffalo Bills because it shows their team can win games despite Josh Allen. They don't have to overly rely on him, even though in the second half they kind of did, but definitely was not a pretty win for the Bills. It was snowy and they're down to 2 spots because the win was not pretty whatsoever, and they still got the win though. Number 9, I have the Tennessee Titans back on this list. I feel like they should be higher, but there's something about the team. At times they look great. They beat quality competition like Chiefs, Bills, and a blowout against the Dolphins. But other times there's they just aren't that good. Like against the Steelers in that turnover heavy fourth quarter, or against the Jets. Titans at times they look really good, but other times not so much. And they can definitely make in the playoffs. They can either go into like the Super Bowl or they can be a first round exit. So I have them at number 9, which is lower than most people. I personally would like to have them higher, but I don't think they're better than the other teams yet. Number 8, I have New England Patriots up 1 spot. A great win over a terrible Jacksonville Jaguars team. They scored 50 on them, but the Jaguars are one of the worst teams, so I'm not pushing them up too much. Patriots, their defense is still good. Held Trevor Lawrence to 3 picks. Their offense just went straight through the Jacksonville defense, and it was just a quality win that every good team must have against a bottom feeder like the. So it was just a win they must get a win they expected and they got. Number 7, I have the Arizona Cardinals up 3 spots. Finally, a very impressive win against a very good Dallas Cowboy team. They had a 3 losing streak, but they redeemed themselves against a very good Cowboys team. Their defense shut down the Cowboys offense for the most part, and their offense managed to get enough points on that very good Cowboys defense. And the offense looked much better, and their defense held one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL. It was a very good bounce back win, and they still have a chance to win the division. Number 6, I had Tampa Bay Buccaneers down 1 spot, mainly because they almost lost to the Jets. Team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champions, should not come that close to the Jets. They won 28-24 off a last-minute Brady drive, and their team right now is very injured, especially with AB leaving. Their wide receivers are very injured. Their defense overall, the whole team is injured at the very worst time right before the playoffs. Hopefully, they can get a few pieces back by the time they reach the playoffs. But right now, their team is not looking great. Number 5, I have the Cincinnati Bengals up 1 spot. A great statement win, another statement win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Burrow is going crazy right now, due for like another 400 yards in a 34-31 win over the Chiefs. Their defense, though, did not do well, and they allowed 31 points to the Chiefs, who so their defense could definitely do better, but their offense has been making up for it. Like I said, Jamar Chase had 3 touchdowns and won many fantasy leagues, and overall their offense is just coming together. The run game, Joe Burrow. Hopefully their defense catches up. At times their defense has been above average. Hopefully they return to that form in the playoffs. But even if they don't, their offense should make every game close. Number 4, I have the Dallas Cowboys down 1 spot. They lost the Cardinals. Their offense once again was out of sync, and they didn't do much until like the fourth quarter against the Cardinals. And their defense could not shut down the Cardinals, even though they only allowed 25 points, mostly field goals. They they couldn't stop them when it mattered most, and then at the beginning, that made them fall in a hole. And overall, their offense returned for 1 game last week, and has now reverted out of sync form, and they just have to get it together on offense, especially their defense. Will pretty sure will return to their dominant level a few weeks ago, and their team is still very good. And hopefully against the Cardinals, it was just a fluke fluke loss. Number 3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs down one spot. Their offense did their job. They scored 31 points on the Bengals and had like a 14-point lead at one point. But their defense could not stop Chase. For some reason, they did not double him. They left him man on one-on-one, and Chase burned them. Chiefs offense have done enough. They could have done more, especially in the second half where they only scored 3 points, but 31 points is more than enough to win you a football game. And their defense, though, after their earlier, earlier a few weeks ago, their defense was looking great. But these last couple of weeks, they have not done so well. And number 2, I have the Rams up 2 spots. Only reason they're up 2 spots because of the Chiefs and Cowboys losing. Matthew Stafford had a terrible game. I think he threw like 2 picks at pick 6. And even though he did lead them to a game-winning drive, it was the Rams won despite of Stafford. And and the defense came in clutch, especially in the fourth quarter when they stopped the Ravens. And their offense, they did get a last-minute drive in, but it should have been a bigger win. Teams that drop off: Indianapolis Colts, mainly because Tennessee came in, and Indianapolis dropped out because they lost to the Raiders 23-20. It was not a pretty win, and Carson Wentz was definitely off and shaky. They did have a lead. They did have a lead in like the third quarter, but they lost that, and they only drop out because Tennessee Titans is in, and definitely they're still a top 10 team. They just didn't have enough spots here. Still, it was not a pretty loss against the Raiders. Wentz looked off, as he should, since he spent the whole week on COVID reserve, and the rest of the team couldn't make up for it. But once still, the Green Bay Packers, they beat the Vikings, just a good win over a divisional opponent. Aaron Rodgers, definitely an MVP candidate. Their defense played better, sacked Al Mannion at least a few times, and everything's looking great for the Packers right now. They clinched the number 1 seed and they have a bye, and everything's looking great for them. The offense, defense, special teams still kind of bad, and still they have number 1 seed and they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They have NFL Week 7 or Week 18 power rankings.